host Cabinet deliberations for this week. Cabinet met on the 26th of February, which was yesterday. And coming out of that meeting, the head of the Presidential Secretariat and Secretary to the Cabinet, Dr. Roger Luncheon, will bring you highlights on a number of matters Cabinet wish to bring to the public's attention through the media, after which we will entertain questions on his opening presentation and, if time permits, on any other topical matter. I'll hand you over to Dr. Luncheon.
Thank you, Kwame, and good morning again, ladies and gentlemen of the media. Cabinet met yesterday on the 26th. Rising from that meeting, these are the matters I would be bringing to your attention. As usual, contracts, Parliament, Cabinet snippets. Allow me to start with the contracts for which Cabinet offered its no objections. The first, Public Works, Power Sector, GPL's construction of foundation for the 26 megs Watchstill power plant at Breeden Hoop on the west bank of Demerara, Region 3. And that award is 483 odd million Guyana dollars. 483 odd million Guyana dollars. Second one, agriculture, drainage and irrigation. The NDIA supply of fuel and lubricants for the operation, servicing, and monitoring of the NDIA hydraulic excavators, bulldozers, and draglines being used in the construction of the East Demerara Northern Relief Channel. This is what is known as the Hope Canal, draining the Conservancy, and that is 80 million odd Guyana dollars. Sorry, yes, 80 million odd Guyana dollars. Parliament. The Chief Justice acting is expected to rule on the substantive action brought by the Attorney General, Minister Anil Nandlall, with respect to the denial of Minister Rohi's constitutional rights to speak in the National Assembly. The Speaker, Mr. Raphael Trotman, has finally spoken publicly and definitively. There is every reason now to believe that the matter of the denial of Minister Rohi's constitutional rights to speak has been concluded, and has been concluded in accordance with respect to our Constitution. And that expectation is notwithstanding the utterances of APNU. As a result, Cabinet is anticipating, even expectantly, that the soundness of the Speaker's contention would prevail, and that would be even more endorsed at the level of extra parliamentary engagements among the parliamentary political parties. Snippets. Mashramani 2013. Cabinet's review concluded that the event was a smashing success. The national flag raising exercise that commemorated the anniversary of our Republican status that rivaled any other within recent memory. And the reports by cabinet members on their participation, their involvement at the 10 simultaneously held regional flag raising exercise further consolidated cabinet's assessment of the event. As the Brits would say, jolly good show, Guyana. Commission of Inquiry. The Office of the President has been informed. The commissioners are, probably by this time have, returned today, Wednesday, the February the 27th, 2013. Cabinet was also informed that President Ramatar has signaled his availability for a planned handing over exercise by the Commissioner of the report scheduled for tomorrow, Thursday, in this very same room at the credentials at the Office of the President. Essentially, a public handing over ceremony. The time would be disclosed later, but tentatively 10 a.m. in the morning. Relocation. In the wake of the relocation and centralization of GRA operations at the NIS Camp Street location, the East and Thomas Street location has been, at the cabinet meeting of yesterday, assigned to units from the Ministry of Labor, Human Services, and Social Security. They would occupy the vacated building on Lamaha Street, adjacent to the Guyana Public Hospital Corporation facilities. Commissioning, Ministry of Health Drug Warehouse. Dr. Berry Ramsaran, the Minister of Health, invited cabinet members to the Friday, March the 8th, 2013, commissioning exercise of the newly constructed warehouse facility in Diamond. This facility provides, intrinsic to the Ministry of Health, storage, and in conjunction with regional administration, means of distribution and monitoring of drugs and medical supplies in the regional health services. Guyana, Brazil, Working Group on Infrastructure Projects, February the 20th to the 21st. Cabinet commended the organizers of the first meeting of the Guyana-Brazil Working Group on Infrastructure Projects. The group met in Guyana at the GICC location over the 2 days, February the 20th to the 21st. The meeting, Cabinet was advised, focused on the two states' respective national institutions and their arrangements for projects, design, implementation, and financing in the infrastructure sector. Guyana infrastructure interests revolved around one, the Lethem to Linden Road, hydropower development and export of energy, and the deep water port facility in the Berbice River. The working group formed 3 subcommittees, and the working group would be continuing their engagements in March 2013, next month. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, those were the matters I wanted to bring to your attention. We do have some time available to entertain not only questions on my opening statement, but on your considered view of topical matters. Thank you.
Could you say if the government would continue to support the arrangement in the Privileges Committee regarding Minister Road, given the Speaker's decision?
If the government, you want to say that again?
Would still participate in the Privileges Committee?
I don't believe it is a government position. The Speaker having ruled, one would anticipate consequential action. A resort to the Privileges Committee when the ruling would have been given by the Speaker sounds to me quite unnecessary, if not contradictory. As I said in my opening statement, Cabinet's expectations are that the matter has been concluded definitively. A resort to the Privileges Committee seems to suggest it has not been concluded, and that is inconsistent as far as the Cabinet is concerned with the ruling by Mr. Trotman.
Adam Harris, sir, the Hope Canal. If memory serves me right, the deadline should have been sometime this year. Is the completion of the canal on schedule? If not, exactly how much more work is supposed to be done?
I could answer your first part readily by saying it is not on schedule. The second part is a bit more difficult, and I think that the project execution unit would have to be involved to speak to the delays in the specific components of the Hope Canal project that contribute to its full design. So at the back end, the construction, the canal itself, the road, and the outlet to the Atlantic. There are different components, and I think that you would probably need to address the second part of your question to the project execution unit to be given those details. But I could confirm that it is delayed.
And while you're relatively still on the opening statement, you're building this foundation for GPL, sir. Did you say the
Well, I believe the term building the foundation might be a bit loose, because indeed what is being done is everything that needs to be done on the site in Redenhoop for the installation of the power plant. So it's buildings, it's foundations, it's site preparation, the entirety of the preparation to hand over to the engineers installing the power plant, a power plant ready site. So it's a bit more than just the foundation.
Any other questions?
CARICOM is looking to have a representative, a CARICOM representative on the WICB. Are there any considerations at the government level to push for Clive Lloyd to be this representative, since his nomination for the presidency sort of fell through?
As a true nationalist and a friend of Clive Lloyd, I would probably be biased in my answer and in terms of what the government of Guyana would like. But I'm constrained by the fact that this is a CARICOM decision. It's not a government of Guyana decision. And indeed, at the particular forum at which that decision is made, I now understand it is at a particular forum the decision would be made. I'm certain that all of the CARICOM states would want to have inputs into, I think there are now 2 openings and not 1, but I might be incorrect, but to make inputs in the identity of the CARICOM representative. I can't believe that we would not be championing, like the others, our own.
Drug warehouse. We know that drugs are being stored by the new GPC, and we have built our warehouse. Some little questions. Have we transferred those drugs that were at GPC to our warehouse at Diamond? That's the first one. Are you in a position to say what volume of drugs might have been transferred as a result of the new warehouse? And finally, there would be some expired drugs. Have we a value of the extent of expired drugs that might have been discovered in the new GPC warehouse and to be transferred to Diamond?
Well, let me answer your second question first. To say it is expected that the development of intrinsic capacity of the Ministry of Health would see all of its assets, drugs, medical supplies, from other facilities taken over. So just empirically, everything that was held elsewhere other than in intrinsic health facilities with regards to drugs and medical supplies, I can anticipate is destined for the warehouse. The question whether that operation has been concluded is one I cannot pronounce on definitively. I can't imagine it not being done, but I don't necessarily concede that it has to have a drop-dead date. It needs to be said that the policy quite correctly would be, we're going to house because we have our own warehouse. But we have to deal with the realities about moving, and in the movement, the accountability. The issue that you raised, what is expired drugs? If you're going to move expired drugs that you would have to dispose of anyway, you better dispose of them before you move them. So there are a number of considerations that will determine when the conclusion of the movement of government, state, assets from the non-ministry facility when that would be concluded. If you ask me, I would suspect that it has not been concluded, but I can stand corrected.
Any other question?
If nobody in the play, we had the Guyana-Brazil working group, and you discussed a series of things. You discussed the Latham Linden Road, the Deepwater Harbor in the Berbice River. Are you in a position to say how extensive have these discussions been? For example, has there been some definite movement on who will construct the Latham Linden Road? And some discussion on cost. I see they're meeting again in March.
Well, I would, in the context of my opening statement, recall that this is the first meeting of the infrastructure projects working group. And I did say that the agenda paid particular attention of familiarizing the delegations about respective national institutional arrangements. So I don't believe that one could, in that very first meeting, have gotten to the point to address the questions you're asking. I think more than anything else, this was cementing a bilateral arrangement made at the highest level for both countries and using the opportunity for the first meeting to get an awareness of what is par for the course in Guyana and in Brazil. The fact that the second meeting is in a couple of days' time, because March month is 2 days from now. So it does suggest, it tends to suggest that they're up and running with this facility that has been arrived at the highest level, and hopefully some of the definitive conclusions to address your question would be arrived at shortly.
Any other question? Thank you. You can walk outside now.
X amount of dollars, and the investors so far had everything short of a suspected X amount of dollars, X million dollars.
$27 million through the Republic Bank arrangement, that's what you're talking about?
No, that's not a gap. That is a committed amount. I'm saying that, let's imagine the project.
That amount is that is the figure, but that hasn't been committed. You
No,
have
no,
the investors in that
listen.
pool?
I'm saying that there's X amount of money that is needed for the project. I'm saying there is a gap because we had commitments not for 100%. And that gap is what we insist that your newspaper and others have been making difficult by peddling this rumor about corruption and about unaccountability and unconstitutionality, making investors maybe scary, maybe dubious about their involvement. That is what we're saying. However, the financing of the construction, that money has been met. The construction is going on. My feeling is that very shortly, notwithstanding the travails of Starbrick News and Kaito News and Glenlal, that indeed the entire amount would be invested.
I understand, you know.
Why you don't understand? Could you understand that there is a gap?
I understand that there's, let me tell you how I understand it, tell me if I'm wrong. There's 21 million that NISIL is put in through various arrangements. There's a 27 million through the senior debt arrangement with Republic Bank. There's the 8 million that has to come from the hotel, the nightclub, and the casino, which you're still advertising for now.
Yes. That's the gap.
The 8 million.
You have $8 million gap that your newspaper and others have done their damnedest to ensure that it's difficult
So all the investments in the senior debt arrangement are in the bank?
Well, if you want to put conform,
Uh-huh.
it's a better word than saying in the bank.
Confirmed, but not in the bank.
Well, what does conform mean, not in the bank?
Signed, dotted, we can
That,
put away money.
yes, that is there.
And is
Okay.
has this money come from the Grenada group? Ruben, is it?
Suble.
Subin or whatever?
Suble.
I'm
No.
not certain, I'm not certain. I was telling your colleague, I noticed you are playing musical chairs. You come this today and he came,
Gildari.
yeah. But I'm going to help him out, good boy. I'm trying to help him out to get, because what I thought that he wanted was to get straight to the meat of the matter, the data. That's what I thought he wanted when he was asking me, could he get access to the project documents? Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to ask a question that might give me an obvious answer, but I'm going to ask it anyhow.
Well, that's what we're
Who
here
calls
for.
the shots at NCN? Is there
Who
a
calls the shot at NCN? There's a CEO.
does the office of the president give directions to NCN? I'm
No,
asking
we-
you about the Calypso matter.
The Calypso matter specifically is what I would consider an off of the routine. So there isn't a specific TOR or a policy that deal with such matters. As I said last week, if the concerns were dealt with differently long before it got to the championship level, the scrutiny that the laws, the rules of engagement provided for would have picked it up from the day that the lyrics were provided to the organizing committee, to the judges, to the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sports.
What I want to ask is if
It
you
wasn't done.
if you vex with something at NCN, you could call Michael Gordon and say, take the thing off the air, or another government minister. That's why I'm trying to get.
I don't doubt you could do it, but I am certain that Michael would have a difficulty in conceding that is the way it should be done.
Or ignoring
I
you.
don't think, yes,
Michael
ignoring
said
you.
Michael said he never gave the instruction.
Well, I wouldn't doubt that. I wouldn't doubt that. Why would Michael said he
Yes,
would
this
like?
morning he called me. Because he was responding to what was
You gotta be
reported
careful
in
what you say
today's
now.
papers. No, I'm telling you, he
No,
was
but-
responding to a story in today's
He said that
papers.
we quote him when he didn't talk. Some
Yeah,
worries.
he didn't talk.
He
to
didn't
me.
speak to you, but he
Right,
never
sure.
said that he didn't but instruction. He never said that. Y'all must stop this
No,
nonsense.
no, he said he talked to Dayland Rose.
Y'all must
off the
stop this
record.
thing, you
No,
know.
Off the
so,
record.
well, we got nearly, he did give the
Dale
instruction
Andrews?
then, yeah.
You know, I think we got to be careful. Let me explain to you what my understanding was and the logics. I don't believe that this tune is like a long play, 100 hours. Maybe at best 4 minutes. I understand from the minister that he heard the tune.
The ropes and band.
That's Rootman. He heard the tune. And by the time he got into the studio,
The song done.
the music was on to a next tune. So this notion that somebody told, whether it's Robeson Ben or Michael Gordon or whoever it was, take this thing off the air, was apparently unnecessary. Because by the time the lyrics were heard and offended the minister and others, and the minister drove to the place to find out what the hell is going on, then he was essentially dealing with a matter that has been concluded. The tune done, it done play.
So who ordered the directive to go up in the studio not to play the calypsos?
Who ordered this? But I'm saying it was finished. The tune wasn't,
But the notice still went up in the studio.
well, that's a different matter. That is not to put it back on. That's a different matter.
To put them back on.
Oh, it
Because
was
Never
more?
said them. No.
It was
Put a
more,
notice about
No 2013 calypsos.
no 2013 Calypso. That's what the note got.
okay, I heard that
None.
piece, but I didn't know about the language, but I heard that there was notices posted to prevent, I thought it was this song like back on again.
Yeah, but,
But it's not the
Rebel
minister
said,
or anybody said put
Rebel
up this
said that
notice.
No.
Rebel said because the man come from Linden, you only want ban in Linden, so you throw a big blanket over everything and done with it.
Rebel, who is Rebel?
Mighty
Jeffrey
Rebel, how you mean
Phillips,
who is
the
Mighty
man who sing
Rebel?
Desi
What?
around.
6-time calypso mother.
Well,
There's
you know,
zero.
Lunton is locked in behind here.
He's the man who said
So
Born
he
bring
was-
in so much rice flour that he named his
Name
son
is
Rice
Rice
Ton.
Ton and all of
So
that.
Yeah,
he,
well, like, son.
yeah, well, you know, all I remember is cook curry okra.